Hello everybody and welcome back to Aurora 4X. I of course am Sir Bedian, and today we are going to design ourselves a little itty bitty cutter to help provide a little bit of protection value for our upcoming colonies such as Mars, which is going to start growing reasonably quickly pretty soon. We're currently at 2.24 million. We're almost at full production capacity, and we are going to make this a nice, lovely colony for our people. But like I said, to do that, we need a little bit of protection value. Now, we don't have a new hull, so we're just going to go and hit new. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I originally used to design, so how you would design it using just the game itself, and then I'm going to show you my engine speed, range, my general ship calculator. Oh, that's the wrong one. That one. Okay. So first things first, you want to have an idea of what your ship will actually do. Okay, so it's a little gun cutter. What do we need? Well, we need an engine, we need a railgun, and we need an active sensor. Now, the active sensor is going to provide detection and also weapon lock. We also need a beam fire control that will actually direct the guns. If you know anything about battleships and World War II warships and stuff like that, the active sensor is the radar, and the beam fire control is the gun director. So the gun director needs the radar to tell it where to shoot, and the radar but the radar is separate and technically independent of the director, because you don't need a director, because the radar will still to give you all the information it needs. So where do we begin? Well, first things first, we are going to find an engine. Now, if you can use a commercial engine, but it gives us a reasonable amount of speed, but it puts a lot of weight. And we don't need to use a commercial component because, well, we're going to be using guns, so we don't need that. But at the moment, we don't actually have any guns. We don't have any actual equipment that we use. So what do? We need to go and design the technology that we need. So first things first, we're going to go and make our gun. We need velocity technology. Bugger. Well, I jumped the gun, that's for sure. Okay. I thought that it had a velocity technology to begin with. Well, now I'm just embarrassed. Okay, we're going to shift out two of these orbital habs. I'm gonna throw them at this guy. It's gonna take a year. Okay, hold that thought. We're back in a year. Let's just quickly cycle through. I'm just gonna quickly run through a year. Okay, mining colonies increased to 3. That's fine. Cost us more, but it doesn't matter because we get more and it's equivalent. Okay, our construction factory on Mars is completed. So we are at 26 factories and we are at 82.5, so picked up 0.01 million workers. We're just going to start building that one mine now. Ground Force Training. Okay. Australia has completed their Ground Force Training facility. We are going to put that 10% into the naval shipyard to get that thing out ASAP. January 19 is when it will finish. Looks like they've moved a bit of stuff there. Now, if we actually go to the wealth tab, you'll notice that Mars currently only produces infrastructure. Now, Mars will use, as I said, its own infrastructure to build that value up. And I believe it's actually already provided 3 infrastructure, because the civilians carry a full load, which is either 5, 10, or like 20, I think. But they don't bring 3 for any reason. So that 3 was built on Mars. And we don't have any other actual trade goods because the population is too low. When the population eventually hits that threshold, it will actually start producing. It will actually start producing its trade goods, and then you'll see these guys really go off the rails. We are going to set 1,000. We've almost finished the extra slipway on the Hammond shipyard. One of our labs is almost done. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Oh, what's going on with this guy? That mineral packet. Oh, that's Coma Solar. It's not, the mineral packet isn't moving that way. The mineral packet is being fired instantly to Mars, but it's being fired from there because they're generated. They appear on here at the production cycle when the game pauses, and that will fly to Mars, and then that mineral packet will fly to Earth. So you know, that's fine. Okay, our fire control is going to be done soon. Okay, our mine on Mars is complete. Excellent. We now have 11. Hooray! And now we're starting work on the construction factory. Yeah, we almost have the coronium to make another one. Let's shift this down to 2 factories. We're down to 0.29. So, yep, we are rapidly closing that gap, which is fine. Slipway added, good. We can leave that alone as is. That tech is going to be almost done for the... Right, there it is, Railgun launch velocity. Okay, and we're back. Now, so, first things first, we want that railgun. So, we have a very minimal railgun, just a basic 10 centimeter railgun. So, how do we actually read weapons? Now, all the weapons essentially have the same screen. You have damage per shot, rate of fire, max range, size. You'll often get a hit to kill. You get a power requirement and a power recharge per 5, and cost and crew, as well as development cost. I don't believe any weapon has anything more than that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's well, all of them have the exact same thing. Now, let's have a look at the railgun then. So damage per shot, and in brackets that has 4, so it's firing 4 shots per shot, and you can see that it deals 1 damage. So this railgun will fire 4 shots of 1 damage each, and this is always at point blank range. Now that's mostly important for lasers, carronades, and that's about it. But railguns are also affected by the damage fall off. So once it gets above 1, which we'll do immediately at the 12 centimeter, once it gets above 1, that will actually start to matter. Rate of fire is 15 seconds. Now, where does the game get this? It gets this from the power requirement and the power recharge rate. So, power requirement is the total amount of energy that a gun requires to actually fire. Now, this is internally stored power. The gun has its own capacitor banks, which pull in, and store enough power to fire the gun. So this railgun requires 3 power, but those capacitors can't charge at maximum speed. So at our current technology, they can only draw 1 power every 5 seconds. So they need 3. They can draw 1. So it takes them 3 rounds to have that 3 power. Each round is 5 seconds, so 15 seconds is a rate of fire. With improved, if we were to improve our capacitor tech up to 2, that would drop to 10 seconds, because it would take 1 turn to draw 2 energy and then another turn to draw that final extra energy. And if we had capacitor rate of 3 for 3 seconds, then it would be a 5-second shot. So if you want to be using a 10 centimeter railgun for point defense, you need capacitor rate 3 to get that 5-second fire rate. And then, of course, size and hit to kill value, as well as max range. Max range is obvious. Now, this is the max range for the gun itself, which is modified and separate from the max range of the fire control. And now that I think about it, this railgun is actually completely worthless. This gun cannot actually hit a target, because a weapon needs more than 10,000 kilometers to actually be able to fire on a ship. Now, this would be useful as point defense, but not as offense. Now, of course, we could still use this for its PPV. All right. So it does still provide protection value. I'm not sure how much it would, though. I believe it's based on damage or tonnage, but railgun doesn't seem like a very good idea for PPV, to be honest. At least not this one. We're gonna need better technology. Bugger. Okay. We're gonna have to come back to it again. Damn. Who knew that designing an interstellar warship would be so difficult? Okay. We want missiles and kinetic. Let's go for... Ugh. Do I have an energy weapon guy yet? No. Damn it. Okay. Let's get this 12 centimeter railgun. Now, it's a little bit more expensive than range, but this will increase the damage as well as the range on a railgun. So this is actually more useful, and I believe it'll only raise the tonnage by 50 tons up to 200, so it's not too much extra weight either. Whereas velocity, yeah, it'll make it shoot further beyond that 10,000 limit, but it will also still leave it at only 1 damage, right? So we want to get the damage and the range up, and the 12 centimeter should do that just fine. It'll take about 2.5 years though, so ick. Max power mod is almost done though. So let's wait for that to finish up, and then we can potentially repurpose those labs. .2. We need something to drain the extra research points, and let's do. There we go, capacitor tech. Okay, so we have an engine power mod. Good. Let's pull those labs out, and I'm going to move them onto the Railgun. So that's halved our research time. So that'll be done in a year and a bit. Okay. So waiting another year. Oh, they've launched a 4th freighter. Okay, how about a colony ship? Guess not. Okay, there's our naval shipyard constructed. We now have 25% of our construction back. I'm going to put an extra 10 into the maintenance facilities, get those done. I'm going to shift this to 20, and I'm going to put the mine up to 20 as well. There we go. So now we are building our core infrastructure a little bit faster. Our uranium stockpile is still increasing nicely. Not near as nice as I would like, but it is increasing nicely. But our accessibility is starting to drop as well. So I definitely want to get that up. But we also have our, what lab will be up to? 4, 8, 9th lab. So we'll stick that into the Railgun, and we get that done in less than a year. Perfect. Okay. And mining production isn't too far beyond that. How are we doing? We are progressing. Construction factory and maintenance facilities are slowly chugging along. 14th of March, obviously it's earlier in year 20, so we're not that far out. We're about a year out in total for this. Capacity, we don't really need that. We don't need any more right this instant. You know what? I wanted to keep raising it. Ugh, one of our scientists, damn it, our construction guy is, just had his, just about a medical problem. So he's probably going to die soon. We need to start training. We need to start training now. Intensive training onto our construction guy, Oscar. Okay. And there it goes. Pfft. Wow, okay, that was nowhere near long enough. Okay. Killed in an accident. How unfortunate. Okay. Okay, so now that'll take 2 years. Fuck. Okay. That's what happens when you lose your lead scientist. Oh well, it's fine. How's our industry doing? Construction factory on Mars is completed. So we are now at 28 factories on Mars. Perfect. We're building that extra mine to use up some of that corundium. Let's stick another 2 factories on the chopping block. How are we doing on Australia? 37. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, maintenance facilities are chugging along nicely. We are up at 600 more for our railgun, 12cm railgun. 480, 450, 400, 350, 300. Almost there. Okay, we need something to eat any excess. So let's put that into let's put it into Gauss. Because we need at least one level of that. There we go. Okay, so now we can design a railgun. Okay, 12cm railgun with basic technology. Now it deals 2 damage per shot, so we've doubled the damage output, and we have doubled the range to 20,000. Now you'll also notice that the power requirement has now jumped to 6. Because our power recharge rate is still 1, it now takes 6 turns to recharge it, and our size is actually increased up to 5 hull size. So it's actually gone up to 250 tons, not up by 50. So it's gone up by 100. Cost has doubled, and crew has not quite doubled. But the hit to kill has gone up, so it's a little bit less vulnerable as well. So we're going to be using the 12cm railgun, and you can see that, so it's 12 centimeters is the bore. It's a railgun. It has velocity tech of 1 and capacitor tech of 1. So that's where that name comes from, and we are going to create that as a technology. We also need our beam fire control, and I think we're just going to leave it. We need a little bit more range, 2 times range. There we go. So the railgun only has a range of 20,000 kilometers anyway. We want to have at least 50% accuracy at that range. If we were to leave it as just normal, then it would have a 0% accuracy at the max range of the railgun, so we'd never really be able to fully utilize the full range of the railgun. And yeah, this fire control is absolutely terrible. So this is your 50% accuracy, and it's linear from 0 to 100%. I don't know why it's not 100%, but there we are. Probably a leftover from the games that Aurora is based on. So at 20,000 kilometers, we have a 50% accuracy, we have a 100% accuracy at 0 kilometers, and we have a 0% accuracy at 40,000 kilometers. But a railgun doesn't reach that far just yet anyway, so it doesn't matter. Tracking speed is 1250. Tracking speed is basically used to determine accuracy against a target. So the faster a target is, the higher the penalty on speed if it exceeds your tracking speed. And your tracking speed needs to be equal to or higher than the tracking speed of your guns. In this case, we need the ship to be going at least this fast to be able to fully utilize the tracking speed. But once again, I'm also going to double the tracking speed up to 2500. It's still going to be a relatively slow ship. We don't really need the tracking speed to be much faster than this, because we're just assuming that it's a little runaround cutter, so that's fine. Now, because it is a PPV ship, we don't really need to make it a functional warship. It just needs to sit there and look pretty and dangerous. But I'm going to be making it at least reasonably functional for this technology level. Hardening against is against electromagnetics. It's obviously ship-based, and it's not going to be running on a fighter. So that will do. And you can see fire control S is 02, so size is 2. 20 is our max range, so that or 50% range, and 2500 is our tracking speed. Is it size or? I think that's the smallest size. So that tells you which one of these is smaller. Okay. Okay, so we're just going to create that as a 2x2. Okay, so we have a fire control, we have our cannon. We need engines. And actually I'll come back to the engines in a sec. What else do we need? We need our active sensor. Okay. Now it's going to be a ship-to-ship sensor, but it's only going to be fighting small things. So let's put a 20. Not hull size. No. Yes. I'm going to put a 20 resolution. Now the way resolution works is this is the size of the target that the sensor is geared to optimally detect. So as it stands, it's currently geared to optimally detect 5,000-ton ships. We have a grav sensor strength, we have an EM sensitivity, so that's a passive EM passives, our active sensor strength. Sensor size is the size in hull sizes. Hardening to protect against electromagnetics, and whether you're designing a search sensor or a missile fire control. We're not using missiles just yet, so we don't need the missile fire control. So it's a search sensor. How do you read the search sensor? Okay, so active grav sensor strength, sensitivity modifier. You don't have to. You only need this if you're actually doing the math yourself. Sensor size and hit to kill. This is resolution it's geared against, and this is the maximum range against that resolution. So as it stands, this sensor can detect that 5,000-ton object at 5 million kilometers out, and that is the furthest it can detect any object whatsoever. So whether the object is 5,000 tons or 5,000 million tons, it's still only going to be able to detect it at 5 million kilometers out. And then you also have a few ranging indicators as well. So against a 1,000-ton object and against a 250-ton object. And as you can see, it's not a linear drop. So, it's 5 times less range on this, but it's much less than 5 times, because 5 times will be only 1 million of this, which is 5 times less than a maximum. So as you can see, objects that are significantly smaller than your resolution are going to fall off in detection much faster. And if we actually increase the detection, what's the 250? It actually goes down. So as you increase your resolution, your maximum goes up for the tonnage that you're geared against, but your smaller size detection decreases significantly. So you don't want to just build a sensor that will detect out really far using resolution. You do need to make it more balanced. But if we drop down to one hull size, we also get a little bit more information, but you'll see that our max range is only 500,000 kilometers. And again, that's max range for anything. So a large ship, a 5,000 ton ship, we'd only see it at 500,000 kilometers. For a resolution 1 sensor, you also get slightly different readouts. So you get range versus 6, 8, and 12 missiles, because res 1 sensors are optimally geared to detect missiles. Resolution, so size 6 missiles are the smallest missile that still gets a stealth bonus. So anything bigger than a size 6, you can see that the detection range increases. But a size 6, this will only detect it from 54,000 kilometers out. So this will detect anything no closer than 54,450 kilometers. But a size 6 or smaller missile would not get detected until it was 54,000 kilometers away. Now, a missile could easily get this kind of speed per second, so it's not a very good sensor, because a missile that's traveling significantly faster than this could easily skip through and hit you before even being detected. So it's important to have a decent range on this as well. Now, we don't need res 1, we are just using a little cutter, but we do need more than 500,000 kilometers detection. So I'm going to go with a nice 1,000 ton 20 hull size sensor, and that will give us 2.2 million kilometers on 1,000 ton object, and 139 on something like the size of a fighter, which is a reasonable detection range. But I'm also going to increase the tonnage to 100 tons, which will increase our max range to 4.4 million, while also increasing our anti-fighter detection at 250,000. So it still has to sit on top of a fighter to detect it, but it's not geared to fight fighters, it's geared to fight other little cutters like itself. So that is where we're going to be, and you can see the way you read it, active sensor tells you what it is, and that is your hang on, that's your resolution. That's your range in million kilometers. So that's your max range in million kilometers, rounded down, and your resolution. So it's a 4 million kilometer resolution 20 sensor. Straightforward. Okay, so now that we have sensors, we finally need to work on engines. Now, it's important to determine how big of a ship you're looking at. So, I'm going to do it in a notepad first, show you how it's done. So, first things first, we have our Railgun. That's 250 tons. It's about 100 tons for the fire control. It was 150 tons for the sensor. No. Hang on, how much was the fire control? Was it 100 or 200? 100. Okay. Yeah, 100 for the fire control, and it was about 100 for the sensor, I believe. Yeah, 100. Okay. $100 for the sensor. So we got Railgun fire control sensor. That is 450 tons worth of equipment that we need. Now, there is a bit of an overhead because you have crew quarters and you have armor and you have all of those. And then, of course, there's fuel and engine. But 450 tons of a gun is not really too crash hot. So I think we're going to go with 3 railguns. So it'll bring us up to 750. So that's about 1,000 tons. It's going to be a little bit more than 1,000 tons. So you need to be pushing let's go for 1,1300 tons of actual gear. Railguns. Oh, power plant. Jeez. Okay, power plant. Railgun. Well, now that we know how many railguns we actually have, it draws 1 power. So if we want to be using 3, we want 3 power out of our reactor. So power output increases size until we get 3. Ding. Bingo. Power plant is fairly easy. Power output is how much power it outputs every 5 seconds. And this is the chance that it will explode if it's destroyed. Its hit to kill value, how big it is, and that's about it. Boronite is used for reactors. So if you're using energy weapons, you're going to be using a fair amount of boronite. Fairly straightforward. Create. Done. Okay. But that was like 50 tons. Power plant. So that's like nothing. Okay, so we're looking at about 1,200 tons of payload. Now, the speed equation is engine power divided by tonnage or size, and then multiplied by the speed factor. Now, if you're working in tons, you multiply it by 50,000. If you're working in hull size, you multiply it by 1,000. And that's fairly straightforward why you get that, because one hull size is 50. So by converting it from something that's 1 to something that's per 50, you obviously have to increase the size by 50 to get the same amount. But these are your speed equations. So how much actual payload do we have? All right. Well, we have about, let's say, 1,500 tons of actual payload. Which is essentially everything that's not required to push the ship around, right? So 1,500 tons. So what kind of speed do we need? Well, we need 2,500 velocity. We need 2,500 speed because that's the tracking speed of our fire control. So we want to be able to get the full use of that. So what we have, all right? So 2,500 equals EP divided by, we're going to go with hull size, just because it's 1,000, multiplied by 1,000. And how much is all this in hull size? Well, we got 1,500 tons is, it's 4 hull size per 250, 8 hull size per 500, 8, 16, 24? About 24. So we'll replace this with 24. Okay, so we divide it by 1,000, so we get 25? No, 2.5. 2.5 equals engine power divided by 24. I'm pretty sure I'm doing it wrong. Yeah, I'm doing something wrong. Okay, so how much engine power do we actually need? I believe we'll have to multiply this by 24. So what's 25 times 24? 600. Okay, so we need 600 engine power to push our payload around at the speed we want. Okay. So how much actual engine power do we need to get that? Well, using our power mod of 1, to get 600 engine power, we need about 3 of these 50 hull size engines. Now, I don't know about you, but having one of our engines be about twice the tonnage of our payload kind of sucks. So let's jack up the power mod. It still kind of sucks, but we might be able to run it with 2 of these. The extra 150 engine power will maybe push our engine fast enough, although it probably won't. So let's bring in our little calculator. And here it is. Now, there is a link to this calculator on the Aurora Reddit, and I may potentially put a link in the description down below. If I don't, go to the Reddit. There is a link to that down below, and you can easily reach it. So, what is our mass target? Well, it actually is a little bit difficult to work out from payload to total ship mass. I haven't designed the system to work like that in this sheet, but it will give you an idea of what you need. So the way to work backwards is you want to work from the engine. Okay. Now, what kind of range do we want? Well, I think about 7.5. 7.5 billion kilometers is not too far. It's not too. It covers the inner system easily enough. Make it 8. Deployment time will be 12 months. That's fine. Desired speed that we're going for is 2,500. Oh, it's actually 2,250, but yeah, 2,250. Was it 2,250? No, 2,500. Okay. 2,500. Okay. Next. Okay, so target is what we're after. We want to get that. So engine type is nuclear thermal. And we have a power mod of 1.5. And we'll have a fuel efficiency of 0.8. Okay. And I'm gonna null overrides. We have uranium armor, that's good, and we are not using a jump drive. And we're going to let it define the fuel for us. Okay, so if we had 30,000 tons of ship, it would take us 4 50 hull size engines to get us up to the speed we want, and we would have almost 18,000 tons to play with. But 30,000 tons is way above our requirements. So can we do it on a 5,000 ton ship? Yes. No, we can't. Well, we can, but we kind of can't. Oh, we actually can. Huh. We can. We can do it with one engine. Hold that thought. I screwed up somewhere big. How? 2,500 tons of engines, nuclear thermal 1.5850, yes. Gives us 375 engine power on a 2,500 ton engine. I must have screwed up that converting that speed equation. That's what it is. Okay. But at 250 engine power, at 375 engine power, that will give a 5,000 ton ship a speed of 3,750. It will also give us a payload of just under 2,000 tons. Now, this payload will also have to cover crew, but it does not cover the tonnage for fuel. So it will need a 250,000 liters of fuel, but that's not included in the payload. This is purely guns, crew quarters, which I haven't added in yet, because you need to account crew for weapons. So that's 2,000 tons for weapons, power plants, stuff like that. Now, we don't need that much tonnage, so we'll actually get more speed out of it. So I'm actually thinking if we should get a faster fire control. If we can get up to 3, that's 3,750 kilometers. So that's about the speed that we're getting. Now, we're going to be getting a little bit faster than that, but I don't think 4 times. I don't think we're going to get up to 5. No, we could get up to 5. What would it take to get up to 5? If we have a 4,000 ton ship. Yeah, that's almost 5. But it's not, doesn't really give us the payload we need. Actually, we only need half the tonnage. If we drop this to say 30.8 of an engine we need for 2500 speed. What about 5,000 kilometers? Can we get 5,000 kilometers? 5,000 ton ship? No, we need 2 engines for that. Yeah, we really can't. Really can't, because we need 2 engines. Not without a high power mod or a better engine. If we had nuclear pulse could do it. If we had nuclear pulse engine, we could get this ship up to 5,000 kilometers and still give it the payload it needs to get where it needs to go within a range of 8 billion. It still uses a huge amount of engine, but 45, 44, 43, 42, 41, and no, it needs 42. That'll do it. That'll give us 5,000 kilometers. Okay, that is the cutter that we're aiming for. 5,000 kilometers a second, 5 kilotons with an 8 billion kilometer range. We need nuclear pulse tech. Okay. Power and propulsion. You get off that and start work on nuclear pulse engine. Okay. That will once again take a couple of years to actually complete, but that is a price we have to pay. We are going to get the mining production out and the orbital habitat module out, and looks like they're coming out at around the same time. With the orbital habitat a little bit later, but we need that nuclear pulse. That will get us a 5,000 kilometers a second cutter. Now we could still build it as a 2,700 kilometer. Because, I mean, it's a 12 centimeter railgun cutter, but 5,000 kilometers would make it significantly more useful as a cutter, right? Whereas as it is, at 2,700 kilometers, it's going to have to be refit as soon as we get the new engine anyway, right? It'll be a waste of time to design, tool, and then build these things when the better engine, which will boost up to 5,000, make it significantly better, it will be out in 2 years, right? It'll take longer to tool and build these things than it would take to get the damn engine in the first place. So that is what we're going to do. So we don't actually need to get out of shipyards too much above 5,000 because, well, we have a 5,000. Okay. Well, I should have closed that. Oh, well. All right, let's keep tracking then. Irene has expanded. Mines on Mars are done. We are now up to 12 mines, which is awesome. Our iridium production is going nicely. Our corundum production is going nicely. How is our manufacturing efficiency mod? 88. We're down to 23 million worker shortage. 2 construction factories is fine. We're just going to set up one more mine because our corundum supplies should increase. Overproduction. We have more mines producing more minerals here, which is good. Cobalt is about to run out, but doesn't matter. And stockpile on Earth is going up. Well, X-Earth is going up. Okay, that's 1,000 tons, but that's added to these guys up to 5,000. That's fine. I will actually jack up the slipway on this one. Yeah, we'll get extra slipways. It's expensive to add a slipway, but it's. If I remember the math correctly, it doesn't matter whether you add slipway then tonnage or tonnage then slipway. It ends up costing the same. We can actually test that though. We can test that. For science! Live science, no less. We're going to get these to be the same, and then we're going to do a tonnage upgrade and a slipway upgrade, at the same, and they're going to alternate, and we'll see if one of them finishes earlier. Okay. We are almost done with our maintenance facility. Add 1,000 to that, get that up to 5. Alright, our last maintenance facility is almost done. Oof, Irene is up to 5 civilian mining complexes. Nice. Okay, we can drop this now. Okay, what do I want? Terraforming modules, maybe. We don't know how much we need to build, so not yet. Actually, how much maintenance supplies do we have? 2,000. Oh, we're going to need more than that. Okay. Maintenance supplies. We're going to build 3,000 of them. Okay. That's not going to take very long at all because they're so cheap. So 5% is enough. And we are going to add 5 to that, 2 labs and 5 to factories. We really want to get that snowball rolling. And we just got an energy guy. We just got an energy guide. Hey, yeah. Okay. Oh, happy day. Energy weapon guy, 30% with 5 labs. That is pretty damn impressive, I'll be honest. We won't get him to do anything just yet. We'll get the we got labs doing stuff that's actually more important than energy weapons, but we will start working getting lasers soon. Because lasers are exceptionally powerful against armor, and early on you're not going to be seeing ships with strong shields that need the railgun, but you want that, but you really do need that penetration that the railgun offers, that the laser offers. Okay, Eli Skinner is up at 55. Wow, he's great power. He's probably going to die soon. 1,000 tons added. No, not that one. This one. Keep adding. That's a lab. We will give you... I want to catch up the orbital hab, so we're just going to give it 1 lab. Okay, March, April. Yeah, close enough. So they're all basically going to finish around the same time. Actually, what we could do... we can start working on those, on that equipment. This is on fire control. So that's our fire control, and where's our active sensor? There it is. We queue that up. Get those components done. 1,000 tons added. Okay, here we go. So this one we are going to add an extra slipway, and this one we are going to add 1,000 tons. Okay. So the slipway is going to take until the year 23. So this is a pretty extensive project that we're doing. But, you know, for science. Okay. Let's keep going. Communications Officer Fleet Headquarters. Okay, we just finished constructing another factory on Mars. So industry on Mars is kind of really ramping up now, which I like. We've got 30 factories up here, so construction rate is chugging along nicely. We're getting about a half-year production cycle on these installations. So we're building another mine. So, yeah, we can afford an additional mine. And construction factory, let's get another 3 of those after that. Come on. Oh, I clicked on Sol. Going. Okay. Yeah, that can stay. Okay, so that is our fire control gun done. We're now working on the search sensor, which will take about half a year. Everything's going to be done around the same time. Construction factory done. Ooh, okay. Whoops. Construction factory. Stick another 100 in the queue. And you know what? There. Oh, actually, modify this into 20 because I want to get a nice to round number. Okay. Okay. Good. Actually, I'm just thinking. Adding the capacity. I'm actually just wondering if the slipway will increase the mod rate. If the slipway increases the mod rate to be equivalent, then this should actually be faster. Because increasing the capacity increases the mod rate. So if adding the slipway does not increase the mod rate, then increasing capacity will be faster than building slipways first. We'll see. Once the slipway is added, we'll see. Because the only thing with the second slipway that we've got is this one here. And actually, we have this one with a slipway, and it does not increase the mod rate. So adding the capacity should actually be faster than adding the slipway. We'll be able to confirm that with this test, but my money is that this one, that Barkvjordsson, is done before Naylor AG. That's my money. That's what my money is. Okay. We'll keep going, and we'll save that little bit of science for later. Mine production up to 12 will help a lot across the board, which is great. We're up to 3,000 uranium on Australia, and our construction factories are almost realigned with the hundreds. We're building more mines as well, which is great. We've got a 25% construction production guy. Oh, beautiful. I'm sorry, Oscar, but you're fired. Well, you're not fired. You can stay, but go do something else. Oh, how lovely. Okay, what's he gonna do after this? We don't want this because that'll interfere with what we're doing. But let's expand civilian economy by 20%. Because our wealth is not... You know what? Get the asteroid construction module out. I think it's about time that we start on one of those, because we're getting the orbital have module soon. So we want to get that. We want to get this done. Okay, so that's that done. We'll add the extra slipway. That said, adding the slipway on a larger shipyard also is more expensive than on a smaller one. So it's 1440 on the 6,000 ton, but it's 1680 on the 7,000 ton. So it may actually end up evening out. We'll see. We have a lot of commanders that are surplus. Need to find a use for them. Wiseman will add an extra 1,000 tons. Okay, so there's a search sensor. Good. What else do we need? Well, we need a railgun, which Stephanie can do. There we go. Oh, and she's bounced to 35%. Awesome. Mining rate is almost done. So let's go have a look at a mining rate. So it's currently 59.41. 59.54. 71.44. So we've jumped about 1,500 production annual, which is pretty damn impressive for one research point, research level. More importantly, Mars has increased production, as has this one over here, because it's now up to 12. So all of our mining is now significantly improved, which will be pretty awesome. Okay, how are we doing? This construction factory block is done. Okay. Nuclear pulse engine technology is done. Okay, now we can go and design that engine. So here is our engine stats. Design tech. Engines. Okay. I'm just going to have it off screen so I can actually see the damn thing. Okay. So. Really, events updates? Really? Okay, so we need a nuclear pulse with a power mod of 1.5, a fuel efficiency of 0.8, and a size of 42. Okay, 504, yep, that lines up. 2,100 tons, yep, that lines up. Right, okay, so with engines, how do we read engines? Engine power is 504. So that's the EP of that the engine outputs. And that is engine power per hull size multiplied by hull size. Fairly straightforward. And then multiplied by the engine power modifier. So that's a straight multiplier to the power. So 504 is what we get. Fuel use per hour is how much fuel this engine uses per hour. So it uses 644.41. And that's useful for how much fuel you actually consume. So we're only using one of these engines. So this ship will use 644.41 liters per hour. Fuel consumption per engine power hour is how you would compare two engines together. So the more power a ship uses, The more power a ship generates for the less fuel it uses, the better this ratio. So if you had two completely different engines, this is what you would compare it against. Because if you have like a civilian engine, well, this is obviously going to be much less, but then you get less power out of it, and then the hull size could throw things into the mix. So this is what you use to compare different types of engines together in terms of fuel economy. Engine size is 42, hull size and energy hit to kill is 21. This is about half of your hull size. So the bigger engine has more hit kills, which makes it tougher to actually destroy. Thermal signature is always equal to your engine power unless you use the signature reduction. And this is what passive thermal sensors will use to detect you. Explosion chance is what the chance for the engine to explode if it is destroyed. Engine power mod increases that. So if you want a non-explosive engine, you need to use low power. Cost and crew and material cost, and it is classified as a military engine, obviously, because we have a power mod above 0.5. So this is definitely not going on our civilian ships. This is definitely only going in use for our little cutter. And fairly easy to read it. Engine power, type of engine. Straightforward. Done. Now, it is an expensive component to design, to research. So we are going to take our power propulsion guy, Ellis Skinner, and we are going to get him to work on thoroughly developing our nuclear pulse engine. It's going to take him a little bit less than a year. I'm really, really hoping, because this episode is already at over an hour and it's getting ridiculous now, but I'm really hoping and wanting to get this done today in this episode. We're actually out of corundum on Mars. It's not that far out. Shortage corundum. Yes, construction factory done. Okay, so that's realigned with the hundreds. Done. Okay. And we have a spare lab on Australia, so that will get done soon. I want that engine. I want that engine ASAP. Because I want this episode to be done. I may end up actually cutting out some of the slower bits from this episode just to try and keep it under an hour. Because I know that attention spans and all that. Alright, orbital hab is almost done. There it goes. Shift labs into our engine. We're gonna be designing the orbital hab in next episode while our cutters are done. Okay, railgun's done. Come on, let's get that engine. Okay, I don't normally do this, but I'm just gonna jump 30 days. There we go, done. Okay, that is our engine. We'll come back to that in a sec. So we're gonna have to tribal. Ew, why tribal? Melbourne. There we go. Okay, so deployment time is going to be 12 months. Might actually be much. We'll come back. 3 months for now. Okay, so nuclear pulse engine. That is our ship. Then we are going for a fire control and a search sensor. And bloody hell, did I forget to research the no, that's yeah, okay, that's the power plant. Thank you. Okay, so active sensor is in. We want 3 of these railguns because that's what power we have. Refresh. And we are sticking 1 power plant in there. Okay, we have a 3,900 ton ship. Now we need to get our range. Well, we kind of actually already have it. Because we're aiming for a range of 8 billion, and we're up at 9 at the moment. And that gives us 16 days of actual deployment. But we also need a little bit of maintenance life, because 30.6 years. With max repair. Oh god, now I need to talk about the ship. You know what? I'm going to design the ship, and then I'm going to talk about why I have designed it so in the next episode. So, yeah. Engineering spaces of that, and 5.9 years, 3 months. Can we... No, that's going to have to stay at 5. We have 7 billion. Okay, drop that down to 1. Fuel storage, 8.8. Check that up to 6 months. Yes. Can I fit another one of these? Yes, I can. 2 more. Perfect. That will do. Okay. That is our little cutter. I'll rename it in a sec. So that's a little cutter. That's what we are going to be using as our little patrol ship. It has a PPV of 15, but it's small and cheap, so it's not going to be too difficult to pump these out as our PPV requirements need. So that is the end of this episode, because we have already gone over what I would like to give these episodes to. But it really does go to show how sometimes you really do have issues as problems arise as you're trying to design ships, and go, oh, okay, I need this. Oh, that's not enough. Okay, I need this. Okay, oh, okay, I still need this. So designing ships is always going to be a case of, but what if I get this other technology? Or oh, what if I use this other thing? But yeah, a fire control is crap. Okay, we need a better fire control. Anyway, we'll deal with that in the next episode. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one, where where I'll go over the design choices that are made for this particular ship, and also for where we try and tidy things up a little bit. But we'll also start designing our orbital habs for mining and terraforming. So I will see you in the next episode.